Speaking of the title race, though, Mo, why doesn't Husam want to admit that Liverpool are now the favourites?
Do you remember Rooney?
I'm gonna tell you what. Number one, Husam is a little bit. My interpretation is Husam is a little bit traumatized from the Man City chase and all the stuff that happened. No, he asked, "What's your name, Mo?" Now
I asked Mo.
What's your name now?
You asked Mo about me. Okay.
Sam now is a very big. Sam is a very big personality on YouTube now. He's afraid to get clipped. He's afraid of the people cooking him. He's a massive personality on YouTube. He's afraid to say we are favorites, we can win the league, and he gets clipped and people make fun of him at the end and he shaves his hair or beard or something. I actually think that Liverpool have every bit of a chance like Man City at the current moment, especially with Rodri's injury. Are they favorites ahead of City? Not yet. Because even though City are horrific, they're still only 5 points or 4 points behind, 5 points behind Liverpool. So that is, Liverpool are doing everything they can. Liverpool only lost one game and drew to Arsenal away from home. And Husam, the problem with Husam is that he got all the Liverpool fans behind him.
You know what to do, chat. Look at the chat.
You know what the problem is? The people that say what Husam is saying is actually now following him blindly. Because Liverpool, and actually, by the way, Husam has been called out by a lot of people on social media himself. You've been called out many times because people followed you. You're a big personality on YouTube. You have to admit it. And people listen to you. People listen to you. Nobody wants to admit they follow you. Of course, they follow you. It's good for you. You know what the problem is? I'm going to say the last thing. You know the
last
problem
thing, and
is,
last 5 minutes now. Go ahead.
Do you know the last thing is that?
Yes.
You don't have chest, and you can't have chest later in the season because you said you're not there. That is the problem. You're the underdogs, but yeah, it's fine. You're the underdogs.
Are you done now?
I'm done. I landed my point.
So you're not going to interrupt me 1 second after I speak?
I am not. I muted my mic.
Big up everyone in the chat spamming
I'm
the
going to mute
leopard.
mine as well.
Yeah, massage yourself because you need that. So when it comes to this conversation, big up everyone in the chat spamming leopards in the tree, because I'm calling out everyone on their bullshit and I'm sick and tired of it. Number one, it's November 13th. No one is favorite by any stretch of the mark or by any metric in November 13th. The season is way too early. 11 games into the season, Napoli are not favorites to win the league in Italy. Inter Milan are not favorites to win the league in Napoli. Either of them can win it. When it comes to this current title race, we've said from the start, Liverpool are going to challenge. No, but why did you put that one up? Why don't you put my people's one up? You have to be a fair host. Conscious bias, Terry. You have to be a fair host.
Do people know what is that? Do people know what is that?
Conscious bias.
People know what is that?
Bias. Put the leopard in the tree. Conscious bias there. You have to give the other people the opportunity.
People know what is this?
Put the leopard in the tree. Yes. The reason why I use the example of leopard in the tree, obviously people think it's a joke and stuff, but it's not. I'll explain to you why. Look, the way the leopard hunts in the jungle or in the forest or whatever it is he just lays in the tree and he just sits there and he waits for someone to come close by and then they hunt them. Leopards don't hunt like a lion. Leopards don't hunt like a tiger. They don't even hunt like a cheetah. Now, the reason why I use that analogy is no one, including Arne Slot himself, if he were on the stream, would have expected us to be top of the league by 5 points in November. No one. No one would have expected us to be top of both leagues with only one loss and the only draw coming away at Arsenal, which is actually a good result. But the performance was shit that day. Now, the reason why all this comes back full cycle is the following. It has nothing to do with me being afraid of being clipped up. And that is a shit accusation from Mo that is absolute bullshit, to be honest with you, because I have been clipped up for the last 3 years on YouTube, whether it's now when I'm a big personality or 3 years ago when no one knew about me. Regardless, I've always had strong opinions. I've always been very opinionated, and that's why I get clipped up. And I have no problem with getting clipped up. Now, when it comes to this conversation, look, the same people, and I exposed Hamza, you were there on Ahwa, the same people that told me before the season started, this is your Paul Konchesky era, you're going to be done, you're going to fall off, are the same people now telling me, you must win the league. Guys, it's 5 points ahead in November. Let's slow it down. And the reason why I say all this, genuinely now, fuck all the agendas. I'll land my point on this. I'm being dead fucking serious. If Liverpool, after the international break, it's highly unlikely, but in football, you never know. If Liverpool, after the international break, lose to Southampton 1-0, City win and Arsenal win, all those same people that are telling me Liverpool you must will come on the football terrace and say, I told you Liverpool are gonna fall off. I told you Liverpool are only there because of blah 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 blah. So
The
my
definition
approach
of
is,
you don't want to
I'm
be
not
wrong.
gonna apply pressure on my own team because it's too early, because we haven't bought anyone, because it's my manager's first season. So we take it game at a time. Can Liverpool win the league? Yes. I said this from August. I've said this. This is not new. Can Liverpool win the league? Yes. How can we win the league is a different question. How we can win the league is make a gap so big by the time City and Arsenal wake up, they can't catch up. Even if they do wake up, it's too late. If we make a gap of 15 points, of 20 points, fair enough. And the second thing is we must sign players in January. Terry asks about Zubimendi to Arsenal. That's the player that catapults us into us having more confidence, because that's the players that we need. Because what's going to happen in March is even Liverpool fans who are telling me Husam show chest will be the same people talking to me about fatigue. And it happened last season. It literally happened last season in March. Mo knows this. Everyone said the same stuff I said from September and March. They said the same shit I said in March. Gravenberch cannot play 70 games. McAllister can't play 70 games. We have positions with such weak depth that we need to improve on. So if we do sign those players in January and we're 15 points ahead, okay. But right now, as things stand, the squad is too thin. We're playing way too many competitions for me to feel confident that we're gonna win it. But we're challenging.
Can I ask you just a simple question I know that to end the segment? Just a simple question.
Thank you, Edward.
If City don't buy anybody of January and Rodri is injured and you're still 5 points ahead,
Rodri's back walking.
Habibi, Rodri said he's going to be back at the end of the season. Rodri is not going to play a game this season. He's not. He's not. If City don't buy anyone and Rodri is out for the season, does that make you favorite in January if you're 5 points ahead?
No, because they have KDB.
Have what? KDB is not a DM.
KDB is back now.
KDB is not a DM.
KDB is back.
He's not
Kovacic,
a DM.
by the way, is so underrated. He's actually been the third best midfielder in the league this season.
Have you been watching City? Have you been watching
Yes,
City?
Kovacic has actually been the shining light in that shit team.
Absolutely
Ask City fans in the chat, and even the ones that hate me will tell you Kovacic has been one of their better players.
Offensively only, on the ball. The problem is defensively, they've been way much exposed. But anyway, listen, I get your
fullbacks, Kyle Walker, Rico Lewis.
You just outdone yourself when you said, but the problem is if we get beat to Southampton, which is unlikely, I don't want people to come and say, oh, yeah, we're going to fall off. You said your favorite. It's the definition of I don't want to get clipped because I don't want people to say I was wrong. The definition, actually.
I was talking about myself, Mo. I was talking about
the definition.
Saying we should are the same people that will come back here and say that I told you so. That Liverpool are going to.
The problem is,
as an example.
I think you can say Liverpool are listen. There are certainly rivals. I agree, who will big you up right now.
Yes,
and
to bring you down.
To bring you down, but that's because but they're just not they're just not genuine people, and I don't think anybody on YouTube, they might join in with a banter for 5 minutes. No one takes them seriously. I think you're favourites. If you don't win it from here, I'm not going to say your bottle jobs. It's the biggest collapse ever. You're the favourites right now, slightly more than marginal. It's yours to lose, but that's not embarrassing to lose it. I think that we just live in this really weird world now where it's sort of, if you don't win the title from whatever position you're in, you're crap, you're bad, you're going to be bantered, you're awful. And I don't think it's as simplistic as that, because you're going to lose some games where I think clubs might be able to close the gap on you over the next 6 or 7 months. City could sign a Rodri replacement. Maybe when KDB comes back in, the midfield looks a bit more complete and they go on a 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15 game winning run, and you guys just drop points organically and suddenly you're a point behind them. This could all happen. I just think you're the marginal or slightly beyond marginal favourites at the moment. I think that's fair to say. You've got a 5-point gap at the top over a quarter of the way through the season, with a manager that's won titles, with a squad that's won titles, with an amazing home record.
It's not a squad won titles, actually.
but a lot of your squad has won titles.
There are a select few that won titles.
Hang on, let's
a lot of them are gone now, Terry.
Hang on.
The ones that won, I'll name them for you. There's no need for you to even look.
Okay,
Alisson,
so hang on. So
Trent,
let me rephrase. I'm saying here, I'm talking about.
Konate wasn't there when we won.
Okay. I'm not talking Premier League title. I'm talking Premier Leagues, Champions League, domestic trophies, both with your club and away from it, because you also buy winning experience. You have got a squad that is full of winners from top to bottom, inside out.
Yeah, you mean like Gravenberch won with Bayern?
Gravenberch is, yeah, so he knows what it's like to be in the title race, right? That's what I'm saying. You've got players that have won domestic trophies. Yeah. So you've got this. So I'm just saying that. However, I'm not doing it to set Liverpool up. I mean, I said you'd be in the title race at the start of this, before the season began. It's not to set you up. I didn't do it to Arsenal when they didn't quite win the league. Getting beat by this Man City team, who are one of the greatest European sides of all time, I just don't personally find it something that's overly embarrassing. It's more embarrassing being where Man United have been nowhere near them than coming a marginal second to them as an example. We live in this kind of weird world where it's more embarrassing to miss out narrowly to one of the greatest teams ever than it is to get nowhere near them. It's like, imagine you have 3 fights with John Jones. You both know who John Jones is, right?
Yes, Terry, we both.
I'm just checking. Imagine having 3 fights with John Jones and you narrowly lose all of them, and you get more banter than someone that never even got a title shot. That's kind of how football's become. They don't do it in the UFC. Nobody ever would. Like actual, I don't really like casuals commenting on football and UFC and MMA and boxing, because they tend to talk. No, football's okay because it's you play football, you don't fight. But I see people that don't really understand fighting talk about it, and the way they try and banter people that lose, it's like fighting just unless you've done it. You listen to a lot of elite fighters that have won world titles, and they'll say things to you along the lines of, "I love being the world champion, but you know what? My favorite record is the amount of fights of the night I've had." Like, to some people that just think of everything in football terms, and if you haven't won the Champions League or Premier League, you're a bum. For a lot of fighters, there's multiple other areas they focus on.
Can I ask you a question, Terry? I want to ask you a question. You and I both agreed in the summer that Liverpool will challenge. So you aren't one of those people that said Liverpool are finished, Liverpool are fucked up. I respect that. I understand that. But would you have seen yourself in November asking me, are Liverpool favorites? Genuinely.
No, I wouldn't have done, but this is where I'm keeping the same energy. So over the last three seasons, I would say, again, football fan discourse, I care about it. It's why I do it. As Arsenal got into a top 4 race a few years ago, as Man United got themselves into a top 4 race in the first season under Ten Hag, when Arsenal got into their first title race, the narrative from the majority of rival fans to those clubs, and a lot of fans of those clubs themselves, my club, Arsenal, etc., the rhetoric was the objectives changed throughout the course of the season. So being over a quarter of the way through the season, getting towards a third of the way through the season, I don't think it is wrong to say, I think Liverpool, have just become the favourites or marginal favourites to win it. Making a statement of, if you lose it from here, it's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. That's just bullshit. And can
I tell you where you're genuinely wrong, even with your argument? I'll tell you where you're honestly wrong. The problem is currently the points difference and the timing. Meaning, the reason why your statement doesn't apply that Liverpool are favorites right now, and if they, forget the second part. The second part, all 3 of us agree that it's not a bottle job or whatever if Liverpool lose. We agree on that. The first part I'm simply discussing. The issue with it is it's only 5 points above City, and it's November. That's the thing. Now, if we're 20 points above them, and it's February, and we're 20 points above the team that's second in the league, I'm with you.
He believes his team is similar to Spurs last season. They're going to fall off. That's why he believes.
I hear you. I hear your point. I don't agree with it all. We also have to look at the difference in City this season. Anyone who goes, it's the same conversation that everyone has about City every year. Well, I didn't have that conversation in terms of saying they'd fallen off. You are looking at a team that has lost 4 on the bounce for the first time in 18 years, a manager it's never happened to. Again, to state this season isn't different for Man City. There is no City fan worth his salt that is making... It's only rivals of clubs of Liverpool that don't want them to win the league or want to write them off that are stating, we always said this about City. Every City fan I talk to who's worth their salt, who's honest, says something ain't right with us this year. So I think you factor 5 points in, City not being right, it matters. This comment here says there are 2 sides to this coin, though. Why would be hyped in November? Husam is right. Oh, I also agree. So I do agree that Liverpool fans shouldn't be celebrating just yet that they've won the league. That I completely concur with.
Yeah, I'm simply enjoying the moment and enjoying.
Yeah, but you should. Okay, to answer Terry tips here, but you should have more belief. What I don't like is that Liverpool fans don't believe that they can win the title. That is my problem.
I think there are some rivals that want to tear you down.
Right.
I think there are some rivals that want to tear you guys down, and there's that. I think there's some Liverpool fans who want to play a massive underdog story all season because you man love that shit.
Yeah.
Big up, lads. Just on the Coots. Hope he gets his job personally. Keeps his job personally. Ban him from everything. Liverpool, PGMOL have an opportunity to handle this right as a deterrent, drop him to a lower league and hurt his pocket. And this here says, if I as an employee call a prominent figure of a client a CUNT and get caught by HR, I am getting fired. It's simple.
By the way, Mike Dean already, guys, said that. Mike Dean did not. He said, we know that people have feelings about managers and players. To say it on camera, you're not causing damage to yourself only, you're causing damage to the rest of us, to everyone that work in that. And that is the problem. And to be allowed to have your mate recording you while calling that, you know that it's going to surface at some time. And
yeah,
it's a horrific mistake to be
very strange. Look, I want to thank you.